So joining me now is Vivienne Berry. Welcome, Vivienne. I just actually want to throw the first question to you, though, John. When you first met Vivienne, what made you think this woman would be great in the global health clinic that I'm running?
Well, Vivienne and I go back a long way, so before we worked together, I actually trained with Vivienne in NLP 10 or so years ago, and I knew her qualities from there and earlier. But the new sciences that are coming through, integrating the heart math and also the aspects of the gut to the brain, and what Vivienne's done recently is she's very highly trained, internationally trained in mBIT.
What exactly is that, the multiple brain?
Yeah, mBIT, multiple brain integration techniques. It's wonderful. It's a new modality. It's just 3 years old. Interesting enough, it's come out of Australia. Two old mates of mine, Grant Susalu and Marvin Oka, began looking at all the research that was coming out around the heart and the gut because of what's been happening with health in the world. And they've done a magnificent piece of integration. So multiple brain integration technique is a bit like ancient wisdom meets modern neuroscience. And scientists now have proved what ancient wisdom has always said, is that there's multiple brains.
Within the body, we have more than one brain.
That's correct. So they've proved now that the heart is not just a pump, it's actually a brain. It's an intelligence all of its own. And the gut is a brain. It's an intelligence all of its own. So the scientists have proven that there's criteria that determine what makes a brain, and the heart and the gut, as well as the head, fulfill that criteria.
Can you give me an example of what might make the heart?
I'm not a scientist, but it's stuff like neurons. So we've got neurons in the heart and the gut, and they form neural pathways, neural nets. We've got things like glial cells, and we've got things like neurotransmitters. And the neurotransmitters allow these brains, these intelligences, to communicate. So they are able to store information, retrieve information, so they have memory. So basically they make decisions. But the most exciting thing about these three brains is that they have neuroplasticity. And that means, in layman's terms, is that they can reprogram themselves. So if somebody's had a trauma in the heart, and they've got, I can't trust the world, I can't trust people, I'm shutting down my heart, they can now actually heal that heart, regrow new neurons, reprogram the heart that they can open up and that they can trust again. And similarly with the gut brain, when people have had gut brain issues, digestive issues, a lot of the autoimmune system function, because the gut brain controls 70% of the autoimmune of your immune system. So
this is part of why this whole probiotics thing, looking after our stomach, but there's this deep emotional link with, let's take the stomach brain.
Absolutely.
That is often where people say, oh, I'm feeling tense, I can't eat, my tummy's in an uproar. We are literally, tell us about what's going on then when I say something like that.
Yes, because that's a good point. These three brains each have different prime functions and different competencies. So let's talk about the gut brain for a moment. The gut brain runs our self-preservation. So this is where our fight, flight, freeze syndrome comes in, through the gut brain. It also runs our core identity. Now, not what the ego thinks, but what we viscerally think at our core about ourselves.
Give me an example of a client, a difference in that.
I'm not safe, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve.
Even though on the outside we're putting on a confident show and hello, I'm so happy to meet you, inside that gut brain there's a conflict.
Yes.
Wow.
And the gut brain also runs motility, so that's our ability to move forward. So when we're feeling stuck and we can't move, this is gut brain. Gut brain controls boundaries, controls motivation.
The thing about this, Vivienne, is it's three-dimensional, isn't it? It's working on so many levels at once. It can work on just purely physical. We might have a physical ailment that shows up as not moving forward, but it might be a psychological not moving forward.
Absolutely. There will never be a complete healing until the mind, the body, the emotional body, and the soul, the spirit, align. We're not just going to get it just through the physical. That's the beginning, but we need the whole lot aligned. And this technology, this is absolutely brilliant. And I've spent a lot of time and money over the last couple of years upskilling is the most brilliant piece of integration that's come out. And it's really providing this integration. As a human, we're not going to have full success in whatever we decide to do unless these three brains are collaborating and working with each other.
And in so many people are working against the person themselves.
Yeah, you can have your gut brain working against your heart, your head brain taking over and not even allowing the heart or the gut brain to function. And the heart is so important. The heart controls our values, so what we most value in life, what we're trying to create, and our passion. So if you've got issues that you just haven't got any passion for life, this is a heart brain issue. It also controls our emotions.
And our ability to reach out.
And a lot of people, when they've had something negative happen, well, I don't want to feel. So they start suppressing emotions. The thing, though, with the heart, you can't be selective in what emotion you suppress. So if you start suppressing your painful emotions, you also suppress your joy and your happiness.
And your production of serotonin.
It's correct. So we have to, and the oxytocin and the bonding that comes from the heart.
Yes.
Because the other part of the heart is your relational effect, how you connect with people. So it's important for the oxytocin. So we need to heal our heart.
Now, wait a minute, Vivienne. If we need to feel the emotions we don't like, or John, you might help with this, we're going to need a lot of courage, because a lot of people shy away from the ones they don't like, and they just reach out for the ones they like. How do we do that? What part of the body is that in?
It's interesting, actually, courage comes from the gut brain.
From here?
So fear sits in the front, courage is in the spine. And always in the human condition we have fear. However, we have to grab our courage and push it through fear. And then anybody who overcomes anything, that is what they actually do.
How do you help people? What's the work you do with people to help them find these
Well, I do
freedoms?
work with them that I teach them how to communicate with these three brains. And the first thing we have to do in order to do that, we have to balance the autonomic nervous system. Because most people are what we call sympathetic dominant. They're running out of the sympathetic nervous system. They're in stress.
Fight or flight.
And they're living in an adrenaline cortisol chemical cocktail, if you like. So we need to balance it up. We need to get the parasympathetic working, which makes the serotonin and the dopamine.
So beautifully calming.
Our happy chemicals, yes. So the first thing we do, we have to teach them how to balance that up. And HeartMath have done fabulous research work over 25 years and got some wonderful biofeedback.
I think what we might do is take another session of discussing with you HeartMath and the implications of that. Yes. But this one has been so enlightening and so informing, and this is real cutting-edge, new frontier science. Yep. Thank you, Vivienne Berry.